We have big reasons for big excitement around crypto in general, but also unicorn fart dust. Let's start with general crypto because Eric Trump made a bold statement repeating that he believes Bitcoin could get to $1 million. Let's run out here and take a look at why he said that and what he said. Here we go. This comes from CoinMarketCap. Bitcoin hits $1 million prediction reinforced by Eric Trump in orange. Eric Trump doubled down on his $1 million Bitcoin price prediction during the Bitcoin 2025 Asia conference in Hong Kong on Friday. The American Bitcoin co-founder expressed unwavering confidence in the long-term trajectory. Unwavering confidence. Guys, look, what's good for Bitcoin is good for crypto in general. What does Bitcoin represents? Somewhere right around 60% of the total crypto market cap right now. So, if we were talking about metals and precious metals, obviously Bitcoin is like the gold, at least for now, of the crypto world. Nation states and Fortune 500 companies are aggressively accumulating Bitcoin, according to Trump's conference remarks. He emphasized that major institutional adoption is driving unprecedented demand for the digital asset. He said, quote, "There's no question that Bitcoin hits 1 million, Trump told the packed Hong Kong audience. So very, very interesting. What also is interesting is that we do have major companies implementing crypto as part of their treasury management strategy. Excuse me. What that means is that big companies are now starting to replace cash in their bank accounts on their balance sheet with crypto. Now, this is really just getting started. As you know, MicroStrategy probably blazed the trail with this, but we've heard, what was it, Tesla at one point, and I'm not sure if they still do, GameStop, a lot of bigger, and there's a whole host of other companies that are beginning to implement crypto into their treasury management strategy. Look, you've heard me say this before, and I'll say it to you again right now. I think the smartest company out there is going to be the one that implements unicorn fart dust into their treasury management strategy. Imagine if some company announced, hey, we acquired 10% of the outstanding unicorn fart dust tokens. Imagine the support. Imagine the press that would get, but imagine also the support that it would generate for that company by the unicorn fart dust cavalry, army, whatever we want to call ourselves, right? It would be a very smart move, not to mention that company could also potentially participate in some aggressive price increases in the value of the unicorn fart dust beans that they purchased. Look, nothing is crazy about that idea. Okay, the world is moving to crypto. We've been covering that the last few days. In 10 years, crypto is going to be everywhere. Everybody will be using crypto. That's what I see coming. And included in that will be big companies using crypto to shore up their balance sheet. One more thing. Let's go back here to this article from CoinMarketCap. Interesting in this article about Bitcoin in red, because this is not all that good. Despite long-term bullish predictions, Bitcoin faces near-term technical pressure after dropping 13% from its all-time high. The asset trades below its 50-day exponential moving average, which is like the average of the last 50 days price, and it goes on the chart with it. A key dynamic support level watched by technical analysts. This breach could indicate additional short-term downside potential. Trump emphasized that wealthy families and major corporations recognize Bitcoin's value as a digital store of wealth. This institutional recognition supports his $1 million price target over the coming years. And I've said this before. Hey, I mean, really, Bitcoin and what Satoshi set up, this original ethos, the original structure of Bitcoin and the blockchain were awesome, but it really has become very institutionalized, right? BlackRock, Fidelity, Vanguard, these big companies moving into the Bitcoin arena. In some ways, I would almost say that now a smaller project for now, like ours, in a lot of ways aligns even more perfectly with what the founding fathers of the blockchain had set out. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out for Bitcoin in the coming weeks and months. I don't see it dropping below 100,000, but of course that would make major headlines. We'll be keeping a close eye on it. Enough is enough, guys. Look, ignore the noise, okay? Because like I just said, the founding fathers of crypto set this up as a very simple system. We, Unicorn Fart Dust, are on the blockchain. We, Unicorn Fart Dust, have a limited number of tokens available. Yes, just 999 million. Let's shake them once, huh? Right? 999 million. Very simple. All we got to worry about, ignore the noise. There is so much noise in crypto. There's even more noise, and I don't know what you call it, minutia in the meme coin sector. We can ignore it all. It's real simple. Limited number of coins. The more people who buy the coin and hold on to it, the better off we will do in the long run. We don't want to be a short-term hype pump token. We don't want to be a gambling token. Okay? What we want is a long-term journey based on honesty, integrity, and prosperity, but it's so simple. And all that boils down to is the community and community strength. So keep up the good work. Hold on here. I might be, hopefully you can see me and hear me. We might be having a little technical issue. Nope, we're back. I believe we're back. I think we're back. Please, in the comments, let us know if you can see us and hear us right now. Next Sunday will be HTX Appreciation Day. HTX, the big, massive exchange who organically listed us. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Susie. Everybody say hi to basement. I'm Basement Ron. Upstairs, Susie, huh? Give her a high five. Thank you, Susie, for that update. But guys, HTX brought us on organically. That is a huge deal. What's even bigger about HTX is that every day they continue in one way or another to support our project. So next Sunday, which I believe is September 7th, we will be doing an HTX raid, an HTX appreciation day. I think somebody called it a dustathon, but we really want to get out there and highlight, right, our appreciation for HTX, of course, in a classy, professional way, like we always do. I don't even really need to say that, but also bring attention to the market that, hey, we are in the big leagues. We are aligned with HTX. We are aligned with companies like Ledger. You ever heard of a company called Ledger? Huh? Yeah. Oh, they only secure like over 20% of the world's crypto, and they sponsor Ron's Basement. They support us. Okay. HTX, another high quality company, supports us. And of course, is there another one out there who's like the PayPal of crypto? Who's the leading fintech company, growing and innovating like no other? I can't even keep up with it, right? Who's got the coolest CEO, Ivan? And you got Keith Grossman, president. I mean, Keith Grossman and Raul Paul put out one of the, I think, most profound 1-hour interviews that I've ever listened to in crypto. I listened to a great one from Luca Netz when I first started about pudgy penguins and about meme coins. I listened to a great one from Murad from, was it Token 2024 last year, talking about meme coins. But really, when it comes to the big picture in crypto, right, MoonPay and what Keith Grossman talked about with Raul Paul, and that came out on Friday of last week, to me, sets everything apart. Anyhow, thank you to MoonPay. Thank you to Ledger for sponsoring Ron's Basement. Thank you to HTX for your continued support. It means a lot to our community. Guys, next Sunday, let's get out there and make some noise. We got a lot to look forward to. We are running with the big dogs. Take a step back and look at that. And we're not doing it based on BS. We're not doing it based on short-term, artificial type things that maybe sometimes happen within the meme coin sector. We're doing it with grit, determination, and will and passion. We're doing it as a community. We're doing it with a shared sense of purpose. We're doing it with heart, soul. That makes a big difference. That will have us around when all the dust settles, right? When the circus turns off the lights at some point, there's going to be a small number of meme coin projects that are there that people know are safe and reliable and they can trust. And that has been us from day one. That will continue to be us, right? Because we are the UFD dusters. Oh, by the way, this is not financial advice. Please don't buy or sell anything based on anything that I might say. Don't get engaged to get married. Don't buy a puppy, adopt a puppy, kitten, anything like that. Don't make any decisions. But you can factor in what I'm saying into the decisions that you may want to make in the future. But seriously, I'm not a financial planner. Always, please be responsible with anything you're buying. Real estate, stocks, bonds, oil, gasoline, groceries at the grocery store, right? Cryptocurrencies, be responsible, okay? Don't put yourself in a position where you could harm yourself or harm your family. Thank you for listening to that. All right, let's get into the fun stuff here. Crypto Vic put out an awesome tweet, and this tells us where we are heading, guys. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this. Make sure we got the right screen up. Here we go. This is from King Koss. Tomorrow, Tuesday, September 2nd, we will be having a spaces to talk about the HTX UFD Dustathon, he refers to it, the raid, the appreciation day that will be again next Sunday, September 7th. So check that out. But let's get out here and look at what oh, wait a minute. Boy, I'm forgetting everything here. We got a new community member. Then we're going to get to Crypto Vic. Have you guys seen this guy, the Pink Hulk? Huh? He is out there breaking away. Yes, I know for sure, 100%. I can tell you this is a legitimate account. Hulk hate red, Hulk like unicorn, Hulk here to help smash. Look at those pink laser eyes on the Hulk. So support the Hulk in his mission. Okay, now let's go here. Crypto Vic. You don't see it? Uh-oh. Oh, hold on. Let's go back to Hulk. Sorry, guys. Little technical issues. There. Now you should see the Hulk. There he is with his pink eyes and green face. And Hulk likes green. We need green. We want green. Now we're going to go to Crypto Vic. Here we go. The M2 money supply, don't worry, I'll tell you what that is, just hit a new all-time high, 22.12 trillion US dollars. Murad told me, because Crypto Vic had an interview with Murad, this would be the catalyst for an explosive Bitcoin run. Okay, so guys, the M2 money supply basically measures all the liquid cash in the United States economy. It's money printing is another way to think about it. And we are in a situation right now which will only result in more and more paper money being printed, okay? I want to give you a little history lesson in terms of how this happened. In 1971, President Richard Nixon took the United States off the gold standard. Up to 1971, well, from about 1944 through 1971, we were on something called the Bretton Woods Agreement, which was agreed upon by the victors, basically, of World War II. And during that period, from 1944 to 71, the U.S. dollar was 100% fully backed by gold. Okay. In 1971, Nixon took us off the gold standard. Why is that important? Because that then allowed the government to print as much money as they would ever want and ever need. We were in big trouble during the Vietnam War. We needed more money to fight the Vietnam War, but we didn't have the gold to be able to make the more money. So they said, oh, hey, you know what? We'll just stop backing the dollar with gold. Then we can print all the paper money we want. And Nixon, when he went on TV, I think it was the Sunday night, said it was temporary. Well, it's lasted, 56 years now at this point, 55 years? The point here being that after that, they've been able, and that has resulted, and I'm going to show you here in a second, in the United States, printing money. That's the M2 money supply, and devaluing the U.S. dollar. That's why the dollar since 1971 through today has lost, I think it's 99% of its value versus gold. And to me, you can really lump in a lot of ways. You can lump, that's a very technical term, crypto, gold and silver, any other, and a host of other real assets into the same basket. The U.S. dollar has lost its value. What's interesting, I'll give you a really quick history lesson, and it's pretty easy to understand. You may hear that term, the United States exports inflation, okay? What that means, what we did, we exported the U.S. dollar. In the 1970s, we did it with Saudi Arabia. After Nixon took us off the gold standard, Henry Kissinger, you may know that name, went to Saudi Arabia and basically said, hey guys, we'll make a deal with you. We will protect you if you agree to sell us your oil. But there's another part of that agreement, and that is we're going to give you dollars. You're going to give us oil. You're going to take those dollars, and a big part of them you're going to use to buy U.S. treasuries. That allowed the U.S. government to rack up debt, right? Because the Saudis were basically required to buy U.S. treasuries. So the U.S. government could rack up more and more and more debt. It's very interesting. We essentially did the same thing with China, starting about 20 years ago. We then said to China, yeah, sure, we'll shut down all our factories in the United States, and you can build factories, okay? We'll buy your trinkets, or we'll buy your stuff that you manufacture, so we'll send you dollars, you send us stuff, okay? Everything's made in China now, but with those dollars that we send you, you need to invest a lot of those into U.S. treasuries. So again, it allowed the U.S. government to run up more and more and more debt. Guess what? It's happening again right now with stablecoin legislation. Okay, now we're going to basically export the U.S. debt to not individual countries, but to people all around the world, people in Africa, people everywhere, because crypto is everywhere. Okay, when people buy USDC stablecoin in the middle of Africa or in Venezuela or wherever it may be, because that's the best option out there, and it is the best option, no doubt about it right now. When they buy that stablecoin, they then, with that money that's invested in that stablecoin, buy U.S. debt. So again, we're exporting the dollar. We're exporting inflation, because that's really all that inflation is money printing. I got to give credit to Elon Musk, because he's the first person that I ever heard that really said that. So we are living in this environment where the dollar is just going to continue to go down in real value. And look at these statistics that I think are really, in a lot of ways, super shocking. We're going to go out to the U.S. debt clock, and I'm going to share the right screen here. Okay, in the upper left corner, if you see my cursor, it says U.S. national debt, $37.3 trillion. Debt per citizen in the United States, per citizen. Everybody who's got a heartbeat in the United States owes about $110,000. People, that is real money. There are people out there that are expecting to get paid back those U.S. dollars. Okay, debt per taxpayer. If you're working in the United States and making an income and paying taxes, you basically owe $323,000. Again, that is real money that people own the U.S. Treasury bonds. They're expecting to get paid back. The only way this can get paid back, mathematically speaking, is with a dollar that is lower in value, real value. When I say real value, I mean how many dozen eggs can you buy with your dollar? How much gas? It's gonna cost more and more and more dollars to buy things as we move into the future. Look, you've probably already felt it yourself. Right? I went out, go buy an ice cream cone. I did that yesterday with $8. And it wasn't even that great, to be honest with you. Go to the grocery store. All right, now let's look. I'll show you the M2 money supply on this in just a second. The other thing we need to remember is down here, interest expense. Let me get what color you guys want today? How about we'll go with like yellow orange. There we go. Here's interest expense. I'm circling it on the U.S. debt clock. Over $1 trillion per year. But if you go up here and look at U.S. federal tax revenue, that's how much money our government brings in every year, $5 trillion. What that means, right, is that 1 out of every $5 that U.S. taxpayers are paying is now going just to pay interest on the national debt. It is staggering, right? 20 cents out of every dollar that taxpayers send in to our government goes to interest expense. We don't get anything for interest expense. And the real scary part is that this number is growing and growing. It just recently went over $1 trillion per year. So as this grows, right, the interest expense, as the interest expense grows, the budget deficit grows. See that there? That's because our government is spending $2 trillion more per year than it's bringing in. That All right. And we can't see that too well. Hold on here. We're going to switch to yellow. Okay. Interest expense grows. That makes the deficit get bigger, which is now 2 trillion, which makes the national debt get bigger. That feeds directly into that, which makes this get bigger, which is the interest expense. What it turns into is a spiral. That is what is called a debt spiral. All right, let's move down here. Whoop, hold on. There we go. Now they're all gone. Here's the M2 money supply that we just talked about on this chart. Absolutely incredible. $22 trillion. The government is in a position right now, okay, where all they can do to help salvage this system and to keep it going is to print more and more money. Don't think, not a political statement. Unicorn Fart Dust is not a political organization, not aligned with any certain political, but don't think for a second that Donald Trump and the current administration in Washington is going to institute any form or type of austerity, which means, budget cut. I mean, look, it's interesting, and I'm just throwing this out there and saying it's interesting and speculating here that, like, the first thing that happened when this current administration came in was this Doge thing, which was going to cut trillions of dollars from the national from the deficit, which it didn't really turn out to be able to do that. But in the end, what's going to happen, I think we're going to look back and say this was a administration that, look, all they're going to do is rack up more debt and print more money. And we need no more proof than the pressure, the unprecedented pressure that's being put on the U.S. Federal Reserve and Jerome Powell from the current Washington administration. It's a recipe, well, let's go here. This will, I think, is another way to look at what we're talking about that focuses more in on UFD. This was an outstanding post, hot off the presses from the Bullion Duster. All right. We're going to read this. When systems, the US dollar, the Fed, stagflation, etc., break down, people search for safe harbors. Gold and silver shine, and they are, guys. I mean, the gold and silver price, and we're going to, before we leave here, we're going to go out and take a check on the crypto prices and the metals prices. Shine because they're tangible. But in the digital age, trust, community, and resilience matter just as much. That's why Unicorn Fart Dust exists. Okay, Basement Ron and Resilient Jack. Next, gold and silver are scarce by nature, right? Mother Nature, God, however you want to think about it, planet Earth. There's only so much gold on the planet. There's only so much silver on the planet. But UFD is scarce by design. Like I shook those beans for you earlier. There are only 999 million UFD beans. They've all been sold. They've all been distributed, and there can never be any more made. Okay? People can trade them now back and forth, but it's like Babe Ruth baseball cards from 1956. I need to look up what year he played, but you know what I'm saying, right? You can't make more 1956 Babe Ruth baseball cards, period. And maybe even with that, you could, because they could be counterfeited. But the reality is with UFD, with the beauty of the blockchain, with the beauty of how crypto is set up, everything is completely transparent. Like nobody can ever make any more UFD. No endless printing, no hidden rules. Beans are 100% in circulation. What you see is what you get. Transparency and honesty are built into the DNA of this project. We are not a gambling token. When markets shake, most meme coins collapse because they were built on hype, not substance. UFD stands apart. It's built on community belief in the integrity of its builder. I take that as a huge compliment. And there is anyone who's looking to date with senior singles. No, thank you, sweetheart. I am completely happy with upstairs Susie. So we'll move on. That's an advertisement. I can hear Susie laughing so hard she's stomping on the floor upstairs. In times of uncertainty, people fall back on what's real: family, friends, and community. Think about this. Is a powerful post. That's what UFD represents in crypto. It's not just a coin, it's a circle of trust. You cannot underestimate that, guys. That is where our value is. Our value is in our community. Our value is in the bonds that we form. Our value is that we are a community that is held up of people who I believe, generally are holding UFD on a very, very long-term basis. Okay. I'm going to read that again. In times of uncertainty, I'll read it with a little more inflection in my voice. People fall back on what's real: family, friends, and community. That's what UFD represents in crypto. It's not just a coin, it's a circle of trust. Maybe we should stop valuing UFD in collapsing fiat terms. Yes, we all do that. Why? Everybody in cryptos understands how the fiat system's a bunch of BS, but everybody in crypto, including me, and everybody in silver and gold for that same reason as well, then measures the value of their investment in U.S. dollars, uses the U.S. dollar as a unit of measure, okay? And instead benchmark it against other timeless assets. Imagine if 1 UFD equals 1 ounce of silver. That's the vision rooted in real world value, okay? The future of money isn't just charts and speculation. It's about who you trust to build with integrity. That's why I believe UFD is a safe harbor in the storm. UFD 0.0. I love that. Zero inflation, 100% eternity. And one more. Here we go. 7 of 7. Bookmark this. UFD will outlast the noise, just like silver and gold. It shines brightest when the system cracks. We will measure UFD in ounces of silver, 40 USD billion based on today's price. UFD is like no other. Wow. Thank you. I really love that. If you guys want to check that out and follow him, let's go back up to the very top. Show you where you can go. Okay. The Bullion Duster. That was a great post. That encapsulated everything. And at the risk of repeating myself, I won't repeat myself. But what we do have here is 100% special, is 100% unique, no matter how you slice it or dice it or scratch it or look at it. Okay. It is family. There is so much noise in the world of crypto. Yes, this project is under promise, over deliver. The biggest way we can deliver every single day is by maintaining and growing the quality and resilience of our community. Sure, there'll be something else that, what's the one that popped up like 2 weeks ago? Troll, right? Pops up. And nothing against troll, nothing against, I really don't know much at all about the community. I know that trolling means like kind of being mean to people on the internet, which I don't approve of personally, but nonetheless, there's always going to be noise. I've been in this 8 months. Okay. I'm not a veteran, but I got some experience. And one thing I've noticed, right? Something pops up every week. It's the latest and greatest, rah, rah, blah, blah. That's not what we are after. We are after showing that we are going to be here on a long-term basis. Okay. You can drive yourself crazy gambling. Trust me. You don't want to gamble. It'll drive you up a wall. You want to be part of something that has resilience, right? That is forged, that is proven, that it's gone through tough times. It's UFD, in my opinion, and there's a handful of other great meme coin projects out there, but a lot of noise, right? A lot of thunder, very little lightning. Okay. So please remember how powerful you are, because you are part of this community. You are critical to this community. What we do every single day, the actions we take, but not just the actions, but how we do it, makes a major, major difference. We are on the leading edge of financial technology. Okay. We are a fintech company. Well, we're a fintech project. We're not officially a company. Okay. We are out there blazing a new trail. And within crypto, even within meme coins, we are blazing, even within meme coins, we are blazing a new trail, right? Horns forward, right? Cutting through, doing something that no other project has ever done, right? Showing that fair and honest and an opportunity for average people all over the world can beat, right? Fake manipulation, can beat the rug pulls, can beat everybody. And we don't really want to beat people, right? We just want to be who we are. We want to focus on our journey, which is to continue moving forward to give us all this opportunity, right, to really help define our own destiny. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Don't forget, be good to yourself. That will give you, yeah, it's okay. It's okay to treat yourself well, right? And from there, you can go out there in the world in general, within UFD, within crypto, with your neighbors, friends, and everybody else, and treat them really good too. Take care of yourself.